My name's Tabi.
My name's Tristan.
And we are
Loud and Wrong.
Hi guys, we are back with our second episode. Thank you so much for coming back for more.
We knew you would, but we have to say thank you because we're legally required to. So we're just going to dive into it. We are really happy that the last episode went as well as it did. So I'm going to start off with my top songs of the week. Another one for me from the Yellow Jackets TV series is going to be Space by Amber Mark. I don't know what it is about this song. I just truly enjoy it. The second song for me is going to be Ape Shit by the Carters. Every morning that I go to school or work or wherever I'm going, even if it's 3 a.m. when I have to go to work, I'm just rocking out to this song. And everybody on the street is rocking out to that song too, because I'm just like, yeah. It's just so good, so good. I love everything about it. And then the third song is probably going to be Americano by Lady Gaga. No idea why that song feels so old, but it's my everything. So yeah, how about you, Tabi?
My first song of the week is Man at the Garden by Kendrick Lamar. He just recently, like the other day actually.
Yeah, released a surprise album.
Yes, I'm sorry, I literally can't speak. I don't know if you guys can see it in my face, but I'm actually so exhausted. Maybe we'll do like a life update. I'm not sure how personal I want to get on this channel, but long story short, I'm fighting for my life. Like, I'm literally so stressed out and tired and just like...
But she handles it like a champ.
For real. So if you catch me low-key, like, falling asleep, you're like, what's wrong with her? Ignore. Anyways, my song is Man at the Garden by Kendrick Lamar. I just feel like it's so inspirational. It's really good. I haven't listened to it enough as much as I want to, but I definitely can see it being in my rotation in the future. I'm only halfway through the album, but so far this is my favorite.
It's only like
song.
12 songs long, though.
Yeah.
So you can definitely get it done by tomorrow.
Yeah, that's how busy I am. That's how crazy things are
Music
getting
doesn't
for me.
make it
like,
in.
We're kind of in between midterms and finals, but at our school, at least for me, there hasn't really been like a definitive gap between midterms, break, finals. It's just a flow of assignments getting more and more intense every single day. That's why I'm so just like exhausted.
Especially at our school, like Tabi said, you have midterms and then it's this weird like November break, and then you come back, it's a ton of assignments, and then it's finals and you go home for a month and a half, and you're just like, that was a time that I had that I don't want to repeat, and then you repeat it every single year. Yeah. And that's why we are tired.
We are very tired. Visibly tired. My next song is Can I Call You Tonight by Dayglow. I listened to a lot of Dayglow, actually, and I even saw them in concert, and I bought some merch while I was there. I just like this song because it's a bit, like, coming-of-agey. It's fun to sing. It's fun to listen to. And I've kind of been, like, in a bit of a stressed-out, overworked feeling. So it's nice to listen to something light like this from time to time. I definitely suggest their music if you haven't listened to it before. My next song is Stay Where You Are by Ambulance Ltd. This song gets played at my job. It's like in the loop or like the rotation on the loudspeaker, and every time it comes on, I just like it. It's just a vibe. I Shazammed it twice on accident because I realized I already had it, and yeah, I just like to listen to it when I'm in a certain mood, a little not melodramatic, but like, I don't know, when you're like looking out the window, like your life is a movie.
you're on the glass, you're like, I'm leaving all my worldly possessions behind.
Yeah. I just like it. The song is chill, nice vibes. Listen to it. It's a nice song. We have to do something a bit more lighthearted because the social commentary wasn't going to give. We have to do something more fun and like light because I'm like about to topple over. So there's a popular subreddit. It's even popular off of Reddit, like on Twitter and on TikTok. People respond to it. It's called Am I the Asshole, or AITAH. And essentially people go on there and anonymously flesh out their situation and describe what's going on. And the point is to ask the community, like, am I in the wrong? Am I the person that should have thought twice? Any thoughts? And everyone knows we have our opinions, so
everybody knows that we have our
this would be the perfect thing for us to do and just talk about it. Just get some commentary going.
Some of these situations are absolutely wild, and I think that people in these situations definitely need our help because we are true. We're always right, and we've never been wrong once in our single existence.
Yeah. As a professional judger, I will gladly lend my opinion.
I will gladly lend my opinion to your situation because you need it. Everybody needs advice, especially these interesting people. So I'm going to go ahead and read the situation for you guys. It's called, Am I the Asshole for Leaving My Wife and Kids? I'm sure the title will lead most of you to say yes, but I feel right in my reason to leave. This happened years ago. I married the wrong woman. My ex is internally a very angry person, and I wanted to be very controlling, usually in very dramatic ways, and eventually years of this caused our divorce. Together we had 3 boys, 3 and 4 years apart. The eldest was 9 when the divorce happened. My ex took them to her parents' house, a 20-minute drive from our house that I had built myself 10 years prior. She burned my house down not long after while I was at work. No one was hurt, and I have no real proof it was her. Nothing really came of it. The fire was suspicious, but it was in the days before doorbell cameras. I think she just lit a massive fire in the fireplace. So I left. I had a job that was very specialized, high in demand, and generally everywhere. And back then, you could get a job with a smile and a handshake. First, I went to a major city in Canada that starts with a T. Saved cash for about a year, and then moved to a small town about 2,500 kilometers from home. In this small town, I kept the same job, ended up meeting another woman, and we had 1 child together. She and I are still married. My kids from my previous marriage would come to stay with us for the summers during school break. I thought they enjoyed the summers. They built go-karts and raced them 1 year. We always had camping, etc. My eldest dropped out of high school at home, and my younger 2 from the previous marriage eventually moved in with us for their last years of high school. They grew up, they had children. I have 10 grandchildren, and they're starting to grow up too. I'm dying, good days and bad, but the good are quickly getting rarer. My kids are talking to each other about it, and individually to me. My youngest son from my current marriage called my second youngest for support after having dealt with me on a particular bad day. My youngest thinks his older brothers had a great deal of resentment towards him for being my replacement family, and me leaving them with a woman that didn't spend child support on things like electricity or running water. I haven't spoken to my oldest children about my conversation with my youngest yet. I'm not sure if I should bring it up or let them, if they want to. I just felt justified with my decision, but I am no longer sure I'm at peace with it. Am I the asshole? Yeah. Like, is this man crazy?
I mean, I have my opinions. Wait, you think he is the asshole?
Yeah, he's the asshole.
Wait, I don't.
Because he said that there's absolutely no real proof of the wife burning down the house. Yeah, that's understandable. Like, you can have your intuition, you can have your feelings about the situation, all that fun stuff. And then at the end, he says that she just lit a massive fire in the fireplace. So she wasn't inherently doing anything wrong. She was probably just stupid and lit a giant fire. There's nothing inherently wrong about that. I do understand that maybe she wasn't the best for the kids, but then why would you leave them with her? Why wouldn't you have a custody battle or anything like that? Why wouldn't you give them...
Wait. I hadn't factored that in. Hold on.
Why wouldn't you, like, give them the chance to come with you? You just get up and move to Toronto, which we all know what Toronto is. You just get up and leave, and you're like, I'm going to start a new family. I personally have a bias towards all men that leave their families. I always think they're the assholes. Especially in this situation where, A, your paragraphs are really hard to read. You're in Canada, which is annoying. And
points off for Canada.
Honestly. And then you say, I have 10 grandchildren, and they're starting to grow up too. Paragraph ends, starts new paragraph. I'm dying, period. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off trying to get me feel bad for you when you are full right the asshole in this situation. So no, I offer you no advice other than to go back in time and foster a healthy relationship with your kids and then start a new family.
Period. Okay, I agree and disagree. I think, is he the asshole for leaving his wife? No. If he feels like she's always angry, she's sabotaging, she's irresponsible, and she might have lit that fire on purpose, she might have lit it on accident, but regardless, it was the last straw for him, then I get it. Okay, leave her, that's fair, but he is 100% the asshole for leaving his kids, because if you think she's such an evil person, she would burn down the home you sleep in, why would you leave her with your children? You do not care about those kids the way you think you do. He's saying, they were pretty happy with me, like we went camping. As if going on trips equates to you being a good father. That's fishy. Then to say, like, oh, mind you, it's not like he divorced her, and like you said, he could have gotten custody of these kids. He knew his wife was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he chose to ditch them with her. Not only them with her, but ditch them with her for majority of the year while he lived 2,500 kilometers away.
Yeah, I think that's
he
what
could
it means.
have. He could have moved. Wait, is that far?
I don't know.
Wait, how
How far is 2,500 km? Why didn't I even mean kilometers? Oh, kilometers. Kilometers.
Okay.
Which is about 1,553 miles.
How many hours is 1,500 miles?
Like 30.
30 hours.
Did I not just say that?
He wanted to get away from his wife. He moved 30 hours away.
By
For
car.
example, New York City and Montreal, Canada are less than like 10 hours from each other. They're like 10 hours from each other. He didn't think that was far enough. He moved. Hold on. Let's check the exact numbers.
5 hours.
Manhattan, New York, and Montreal, Canada are less than 6 hours away from each other. He didn't think that was far enough. He moved 30 whole hours away and left his kids with their cuckoo crazy mother that tried to burn their house down allegedly, and they only get to see him on breaks and in the summers. Of course, I don't know if the youngest kid is right or anything, but that probably is true. Why would you ditch your kids with your crazy wife that you apparently know isn't a good person? And it's, I mean, does he say that he has family that lives there? Is that why he had to go so far? Like, he's not the asshole for leaving his wife, but he is most definitely the asshole for ditching his children there. Mind you, he literally says all it takes to get a job back then is a smile and the handshake, so he could have moved to a town like 3 hours away. For example, we're in New York City, Albany's like 3 or 4 hours away. Nobody would have known him there. And of course, he's not like in our area. I'm just saying, like, geography wise, 3 hours away, nobody would know you. You could get a job easy, apparently. And you could literally see your kids on the weekends. Like, what? He very obviously wanted to get rid of her and anything that reminded him of her.
I want to go back to the child, where the child was like, they always had resentment towards me because I'm the replacement family. I think those are totally legitimate emotions to have for both sides of the conversation, but especially when they're adults. I'm like, you're going to your dad for advice. I think he should stay out of it, and if they want to talk about it, they can talk about it. He created the damage, but at this point, he's certainly not gonna help anything with it because he made that decision and was okay with it.
Mind you, they all have kids now. He said he has grandkids. Like,
10!
Talking to your dad about it at this point is kind of useless. I would just kind of work it out with your siblings and all agree that he's the bad guy and he's dying anyway, so let's let the problem die.
Honestly, let the problem go away and we can figure out our shit later.
The asshole for letting my daughter keep her room. My 47-year-old male daughter, Stacy, 15-year-old female, has one of the 2 rooms in my house with an ensuite bathroom. It's a largish room with a nice bay window, obviously very nice. I've recently become engaged to my girlfriend of 3 years, Alice, who's a 33-year-old female, and her landlord has recently hiked her rent, so we're planning to have her move in with me. She has some kids. She has 2 daughters, 13-year-old female and 10-year-old female, and 2 sons. What?
Damn!
11-year-old male and 9-year-old male. She was also pregnant with our daughter due in about 5 months.
Wait, so
First
1,
of all,
2, 3, 4, 5. You're about 6
there's about to be
kids.
8 people living in that house.
You're going from 2 to 8?
She's going from an only child to oldest of 6. Mind you, who was Alice popping out all these kids with? She was 33. She had her first kid when she was 20. 2 years later had another. 1 year later had another. What is going on? Wait, what do you mean she has a 9-month-old son? She's fresh off a baby. She has an infant. She's gonna be so.
They're Irish twins. Did you know that? If they're born within a certain 13 months of each other, they're Irish twins.
What? Stacy went from literally like 15-year-old only child to oldest of 6, and 2 of them are infants.
That's a lot of responsibility.
That's crazy. Stepmom's like only double her age.
Like, are we in the Weasley family or something?
What is going on? Okay, let's continue. I've made it absolutely clear to my daughter as a condition of getting her approval on moving my girlfriend in that she is allowed to keep her room, and she is also allowed to have a full lock on her door. For what it's worth, I also got my son, 24-year-old male. Okay, so she wasn't a normal child. But she was the youngest. Blessing to give away his old room, although that's more of a moot point as he lives with his own girlfriend now. My daughter plans to go to school locally, and I have told her in no uncertain terms that she's welcome to live at home for the rest of my life. And after that, she can inherit the house. I bought the house with her mother and paid it off in large part with her mother's life insurance 10 years ago. So it only seems fair. She says she's all right as long as she has her room and her bathroom and she's allowed to put a lock on her door. She has a toaster oven and a mini fridge in there, so I guess she's pretty well set up. Stacy will be living in a room that she's currently using as studio/project space. She does art, videos, and voiceovers, etc. So even her larger room will become a bit more cramped, and she'll definitely need the extra space she has. There will be a bedroom for Alice's girls, Stacy's old project room, and Alice's boys will be getting my son's old room. I'm going to be putting in a finished nursery/bedroom in the basement for our new daughter. Alice thinks this is unfair. She thinks it's wrong of me to make the decision without her. She also thinks that she should move her two daughters into Stacy's room, and that Stacy should have to move to the smaller room that they'll be getting. The two of them already share a smaller room than the one I'm moving them into as it is, so they are getting an upgrade regardless. Alice thinks that it's not fair for Stacy to have a bedroom all to herself, and that there won't be enough bathrooms for everyone else. She also disapproves of Stacy being able to lock everyone out. There were other smaller things she didn't like that I agreed to do with Stacy, like the fact that she is to be paid for any babysitting, or the fact that my older car, her mom's old car, is hers when she gets her driver's license. We'll have our own bedroom in the master bedroom, and the house has 3 other bathrooms besides one on each floor. One near what will be her girl's room, one not far from what will be the boys' room, and one little basically be directly next to the new finished room. I told Alice that my deal with Stacy is non-negotiable, set in stone, and that it's literally a condition of her even moving in. Alice is upset that Stacy and I have spaces completely dedicated to ourselves. I have my office, which I need because I work from home and have projects besides, and there aren't a whole other lot of spaces to put people. I told her she can pretty much do what she wants in the living room and that it is what it is, and there's pretty much nothing to be done about it. A bigger house is not an option unless Alice is going to start making a hell of a lot more money and buy her own bigger house. It's already a pretty big house, and housing is expensive. I told her that she's already getting a break by my only expecting her to contribute 15 or 20% to household bills. If we were doing it proportionately, it would be more like 25 to 30%. We keep separate finances, and we've agreed to do a prenup. Alice just seems upset that I won't change the setup, even though there's no real way to change it, and she's accused me of treating Stacy like a spoiled little princess and letting her be queen of the house. Frankly, my daughter comes first. She's lived here all her life, and I already know it's going to be a big adjustment. Having all these other kids move in, as much as I love Alice and as much as I want our relationship to work out, if it's a matter of choosing between the two of them, then my relationship with Alice is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I've told her that if she comes into this with wicked stepmother vibes, and that'll be the end of things. She thinks I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole for letting my daughter keep her room?
No!
No! Finally, someone who's not.
No, what are you talking about? This girl is going from being the youngest sibling, which I love being the youngest sibling, to being the oldest sibling the oldest sibling in the house of 5 kids. She's the 6th. Are you kidding me? That is a whole lot of pressure. And yeah, she may be spoiled in the fact that she lives in this giant house with just her and her dad, and she has her own art studio in her own room, but she's sacrificing the art studio, which is something that a teenager would love to have. I would love to have an art studio designated to me. And I think she's being extremely mature for her age as a 15-year-old. You try talking to me about this when I'm 15 and see how I feel. Because I was not reasonable. I was not reasonable whatsoever. And every time I had step brothers or sisters, which was multiple times, I didn't like them. I didn't want to give anything up. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to be their friend.
Also, the notion that she's spoiled, it's if you've gone 15 years with having a room for your, extracurricular activities, then it's just what you're used to. Like, making up space for other people and taking away that space that you've had for literally years to do your creative work is actually really kind. And I think wanting to have your own rooms, when you've had your own room, I'm assuming your whole life, if you've got this huge house with office space, a basement, two extra bedrooms, and like all this stuff, wanting to at the least have your own bathroom instead of going from sharing with 2 or 3 people to sharing with literally like a house with 8 people is completely normal, especially at the age of 15 and you're the oldest. Like, at least if she was like 5 and they were like 14, 15, 16, it'd be like, okay, girl, get over it, maybe. Yeah. But she's literally 15 and like, what do you want her to share a room with a 10-year-old? Yeah. Or don't tell me, do you want her to share, the 10-year-old and the 13-year-old? A sophomore sharing a room with an 8th grader. I mean, I did it, but... but if going from not having to having to is a totally separate thing. I think he's handling it perfectly. He's audacious for letting her move in the first place. But at the same time, what did he expect when his age gap with her is almost the same as her age gap with his daughter?
I didn't even realize that. 14 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like an inappropriate age gap, but it's important in the situation.
Exactly. Like, I think given the context, she had her first kid at 20, and Stacy is 15. So she probably thinks Stacy's spoiled because Stacy isn't giving up everything and making all kinds of sacrifices she had to make when she was young. Where, girl, not everybody had to have a hard life like that. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's letting his kid be a kid and have her own personal space and have some space to do some things.
Yeah,
it's not her fault. Like,
honestly, my favorite line from this is, a bigger house is not an option unless Alice is going to start making a hell of a lot more money and buy her own bigger house. I thought that line ate. I think he should have said it to her face, and hopefully he did, and hopefully she moved out and bought that bigger house. Because, in my opinion, if you're gonna bring 5 lives into this world, you're gonna have the money to back that up, and obviously she does not have the money to back that up, so she's depending on other people. And I think people need to be responsible for their own decisions, including having kids, because it's easy to not have them. I'm just gonna say that. In this day and age. To be specific, it's easy to not have kids in New York in 2024 November. To be clear, that could change. That could change quickly. We've seen that. But I'm not sure when the situation occurred, but it was in the past. So it was pretty easy to not produce 5 of them.
Mind you, they were so close in age. It was 13, 11, 10. Girl.
5 months ago.
Girl. 13, 11, 10. That's crazy. That's back to back.
I hope he got it resolved and kicked her out.
For real. Mind you, I found the part that's so funny. There were 2 of them. Okay, there were 3, but her older brother doesn't live there. So there's 2 of them. Homegirl's bringing in 5 kids because she can't afford to pay rent. He's talking about she only contributes 15 to 20%. If we did it proportionately, it would be more like 25 to 30. If you did it proportionally, it'd be more like 60 to 40. Like, you know how much water her kids are about to be running up? The light bill's about to go crazy. Groceries are going to go from feeding 3 people to feeding 8. She should be contributing way more, if anything.
I hope she has a Costco membership.
For real. That's crazy. And I think it's totally... I mean, of course, like, it's nice to think that, like, the daughter is going to just assume this, like, older sister role and do all sorts of diaper changing and stuff, but, like, it's not 1 kid. It is literally 4 kids.
Yeah, about to be 5.
Exactly. And she's still a kid herself and doesn't have any younger siblings, so it makes sense that she should be paid if she's gonna babysit.
I agree.
Especially when she asked for all this.
Honestly.
Like, I think she's being very generous already, and I think even though he's a little audacious, he's not the asshole.
Period.
Plus, I'm not gonna lie, if she's the friend that has, like, this huge house with just her and her dad and all this extra space, she probably was the friend that was, like, the host of everything.
Yeah.
Like,
so she's sacrificing that, too.
Yeah. Now how are her friends going to come over when she has 5 younger siblings? Some are, middle schoolers. And the scariest creatures on earth.
Scariest breed.
And 2 infants. How is she supposed to have friends over? The very least, she should have her own room. Come on.
With a lock.
With a lock.
I'm the youngest sibling, and let me tell you, I always loved snooping.
Real.
Sorry. Hey guys! So we're back. Our camera did die. The time that happened. So we've been through a lot since then. Some floor time was had. Some yap was yapped.
Yeah, it's not even like our camera died and then we just like replaced the battery and we're getting back. No. Our camera died and then like we finished the night. Went
Trying to charge
our separate ways. Went to school, went to work.
Went to school, went to work, put on the same clothes, put on the same makeup, put on the same jewelry.
Yeah, and now we're back.
And now we're back, and now we're locked in. So
if we're a little, like, all over the place with our explanations, we're confused too.
Hey, we're a little confused. It's been a long day. But as I recall, we left off on reading the update from Am I the Asshole for letting my daughter keep her room.
I got a lot of eye-opening insight and advice from my posts, so I feel it's worth giving everyone an update, especially considering developments. First, to address a few questions that seem to keep coming up before I lost the ability to read each and every reply, although I'm still trying. My son, who's a 24-year-old male, is my child from a previous relationship before I met/married my late wife. He has his own provisions in my will, but he's quite aware that the house goes to his sister. My own sister is to become guardian of my daughter if anything should happen to me. I love my sister as dearly as I love anyone, and she and her niece love each other and get along great. I trust her completely if God forbid anything should happen. Yes, the basement is an unusual place for a nursery, but I was just trying to make people fit where they could go. The move was supposed to be happening within a month, and Alice's older kids needed rooms now. Meanwhile, the baby isn't going to be born for about 5 months, so she could go into the room that isn't made yet. I honestly figured we could keep a crib in our room for a bit, and after that, it's no big deal for a kid to have her own room in a finished basement. Also, honestly, I didn't want to move my office. It's been where it is forever, and I didn't want to move it. I can admit that. We've had the beginning/groundwork of a finished basement since forever, but there was never any reason to really put a move on it. It was a big change to go from having more room than we need with just me and Stacy rattling around in the house to suddenly scrambling for space and not having enough. It was the obvious spot where an additional bedroom could go, but not a spot where a bedroom is now. Alice and I talked about marriage and children more or less in the abstract on many occasions, and we both wanted to get married at some point if things continued to work out, and I wanted to have more children, although this pregnancy was quite unexpected. It was Alice's pregnancy combined with the rent hike on her place that accelerated the timetable on things. For what it's worth, the rent hike is real. I've seen the paperwork, and I have literally no reason to suspect the baby is not mine.
Oh!
Help! But yes, the only reason why we got engaged so recently is because Alice got pregnant. The only reason why Alice and her kids should be moving in with me so suddenly is because she was likely to need to move somewhere, and I'd obviously like to be responsible for /be near /raise my coming daughter. To me, it made sense for my daughter to live with me. I never wanted to be an absentee /part-time parent or to not have time or space with my child. Unlike that last father. The circumstances all made sense, at least until now. I was definitely wary of Alice and paying more attention to her, especially after the many comments that I read. I came to Reddit to get a sanity check on whether or not I was being an asshole about my conditions with Stacy, not to actually make any kind of major life or relationship changes, but I didn't want to turn a blind eye either. It was Friday, and Stacy texted me asking for her allowance. I was with Alice at the time, and I went ahead and let the subject come up. I give Stacy $100 a week. Alice thinks that this is crazy and excessive. She thinks it's improper, and she's brought it up as an example of how she thinks I'm raising Stacy like a spoiled princess. She said as much again when I told her I was sending Stacy her allowance, but this time Alice also asked if her kids would get the same allowance after we get married. I told her that someday our new daughter would probably get an allowance just like Stacy does, but that there was no way I had any plans of shelling out an extra $400 a week for her other kids. Alice got upset. She said that Stacy wasted my money on shoes and makeup. She has previously criticized Stacy for wearing fancy sneakers, high heels, and makeup. And she said that I was showing favoritism. That is a form of abuse. She complained about me letting Stacy buy things with my credit card and store my credit card on her phone when I don't even let Alice do that. She said that whatever money was going to go to the kids should be split evenly amongst them. When I shrugged and told her that that wasn't going to happen and that I wasn't going to cut Stacy's allowance, she snapped at me and said that a man living alone with his daughter and doting on her like I do is creepy and incestuous.
Oh,
and she said, "You've just replaced your dead wife with your daughter and you need to stop."
Oh my god.
What?
Anyway.
Okay, that was it. Sure, I've ignored a lot of red flags up till now, but that was it. She started trying to tell me about how it's unhealthy for me to be so close with Stacy, and how she didn't want her kids to be neglected, and how she wanted to be treated as an equal if we were getting married. But I interrupted her and told her that I don't think we should be getting married. I told her that I don't want her moving in, and that we're going to need to work something else out. To be perfectly honest, my sister, my brother, and some of my friends have expressed some of the same misgivings about what Alice that I've read, although they were generally a lot more gentle about it. I was in love with her. In fact, I'm still in love with her, and I wasn't seeing things clearly. I told her that I would always and definitely make sure that our child had a roof over her head, but that she was going to have to work something out for herself and her kids on her own. Obviously, we had a huge fight. She screamed at me. She called me a heartless bastard. She blamed Stacy for trying to sabotage our relationship. She guilt-tripped me about her cost of living and how I'm in an empty house all by myself. She also guilt-tripped me about the stress on the baby, and I actually do feel bad and worry about that. She eventually broke down crying and told me to leave. In the past 10 years, this was the first relationship with a woman I've had that became serious. I love her, and this hurts. It hurts a hell of a lot. I told Stacey that she didn't have to bother moving her stuff out of the other room, that Alice wasn't coming, and we hugged. She asked if this was her fault, and I told her no. I told her I honestly feel like marrying Alice would have been a mistake, even if the two of them could have been best buddies. I always wanted to have a few more kids, and I've missed having a wife, but things don't always happen the way we want. So I'm pretty sure my relationship with Alice is effectively over if we're going to be raising a child together for the foreseeable future. My new daughter can have my son's old room whenever we work out whatever custody agreement we end up working out. I'm not sorry to be having another kid, even if I really wish the circumstances could be better. The red flags were always there. I guess it's better that I notice them now instead of even later.
Jesus
What's the title of this one again?
Christ.
Oh, it's update. This is the update from Am I an Asshole for Letting My Daughter Keep a Room? Okay, I'll let you go first, because I have a lot.
I think that it's not incestuous what you're doing with your child. I think it's, from my personal circumstances, it's absurd to give your teenage daughter $100 a week. In any situation, my mom always utilized me for free labor because she brought me into this world and she could take me out just as easily. And that was enough of an allowance for me. But other than that, I think that you're being fair in your emotions and you're supplying help for your daughter when she was in distress, because it's obvious that she cares and didn't want to cause you any harm or pain or run your wife to be away. But I think that you got out too late. You should have been out a long time ago, but that incestuous comment would be enough to send me over the edge.
I agree. I think there's probably some jealousy going on. Actually, not even probably. There's definitely some jealousy going on. Your daughter is literally 5 years younger than she was when she had her first kid. So clearly she thinks that your daughter's life is too easy. She's not going through anything, and that bothers her for whatever reason. But she needs to get over it. Also, unpopular opinion, I don't think the $100 is crazy. Because really, when you think about it, when you buy one pair of shoes, you're down to $60. And I think if you have, you're down to $40. If you buy a $60 pair of shoes, $60 pair of shoes, which the nice shoes she's buying, she probably would have had to save up for 3 weeks to get them. But
you what?
Let me start from this. Okay, the reason I don't think the $100 allowance is a lot is because, if you have the budget to maintain that and you also have access to know what she's spending this money on, then I don't think there's an issue with giving her extra money to frolic at the mall and get coffee in the morning with her friends. I'm assuming that this $100 is coming with some sort of budgeting deal. I would like to think if I was getting $100 a month, maybe I pay my own phone bill, I pay my own gas with the car,
right?
It would be expected that I wouldn't be asking for money in other places, and it could potentially be a lesson on budgeting type thing. So I don't think the $100 a week thing is he's too in love with her. No, I don't think it's that at all. That's a bit dramatic. I think he is a little bit of an asshole in the sense of don't date people with kids if you don't see their children as an extension of them. There's no reason you're getting in a relationship with someone with a child with the intention of not giving that child anything, any attention, any love, any fair treatment, any gifts. What's wrong with you? Like, imagine if she moves into your house, she didn't talk to your daughter at all. Your daughter has a birthday, I don't have to say happy birthday to her, that's not my kid. And then throws a big birthday party for her kids. Imagine. Just date people that don't have kids. There shouldn't be like a separation where you don't give a damn about that kid. And yes, she has 4, so she's very audacious for moving in with you knowing you don't care about her kids. I'm not saying he's gotta give them all kinds of allowances and stuff like that, but I don't know, the way he came across to me was like, like those are your kids.
Yeah, those are your kids, my kids are my kids, which I agree
which
that
is
he
fair,
should see
but
them as an extension of her, but at the same time she demanded it. She demanded that the kids were an extension of the family, or like
that's what I'm saying. And not only that,
every view.
With that said, she's dead wrong too, because first of all, you should always understand that your kids are an extension of you, not of anyone else. Like, she's talking about this like her kids are their kids. Yeah. That's how I feel like is also the problem. Because he very obviously does not feel that same exact way. Yeah. And I think, like...
That's a messy situation.
I feel like that was the first conversation that should have been had. Especially if you are hosting 4 kids. Yeah. Right? She has 4? 4 and 1 on the way. Yeah, she has 4 and 1 on the way. But if you are hosting 4 kids... When you're dating in general, you should be factoring in whether or not your potential spouse is going to treat your kids well. Yeah. Like, how did you just marry him and move in knowing he doesn't care about kids that aren't his own? What? Yeah. So your kids can, like, live with him and always feel unwanted? Especially if, in her opinion, he's favoring his daughter and treating her better than everyone else. Like, why would you put your kids through that? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. The only thing that maybe he could have done a little bit better was to notice red flags ahead of time, because now you're supplying this person in your life with a place to live and her 4 kids while she's pregnant, and now she has to emergency plan figure things out because you didn't see the red flags on time. And I think that the baby is probably under a lot of stress because the mom is under a lot of stress. She got to find a place for her 4 kids and her to live before they're homeless. Mm-hmm. And by the context, it sounds like this was a very quick acting situation, so she probably doesn't have a lot of time to do so. I don't know how far along this individual is, but maybe it would have been, since you didn't notice the red flags, would have been nicer to be like, okay, you can live here till the baby's born, or like 3 months after the baby's born, to give them an ample time to transition, because their lease is probably ending at their place where they're living right now, and they're probably under a ton of stress. And I get that. That sounds really stressful. Even though you're a witch. Hey, she's literally a witch. But, witches gotta live, too.
Real. She's a witch, but also, like, you could have figured that out earlier. Because low-key...
You should have.
He's low-key pulling the rug out from underneath her. Yeah. A little bit.
100%.
So, also, it's so yes corny. And no. It's so corny that she's like, oh, sending her money and allowance is, like, incestuous, but wants him to send money and allowance to her kids. Yeah. Like, what?
Like, double standard.
He's obsessed with her daughter because he's letting her have her own room. Hell.
No, that's just respect.
Like, what? But yeah, at least he peeped it ahead of time. Yeah. Maybe shoot for someone that's a little more mature and you don't have to deal with this. Yeah. Maybe not someone just as close in age with your daughter as they are with you. Obviously, she's going to get jealous of her, especially when if you look at her backstory, I don't know.
She's been doing it for a while.
She's been up to this. Like, shoot. But yeah, I think we'll move on. I'm looking for a juicy one. All these are, like, just people being dumb. Like, I want one that's actual dilemma, not one where, like, the answer is so obvious and they just won't make the right decision. Sure, let's talk about it.
Alright. I, 17 female, have had a best friend who I'll call Jim for around 2 years, who is also 17. I never had any real problems with him in the past and have always felt very safe and close to him, partly because he had come out to me as gay a few months ago, so I thought he'd never try anything with me. Like I said, we've gotten on fine until this weekend, when we found out he had got pretty hammered. The memory of the night is quite blurry, to be honest, but I do not remember after dancing for a bit with Jim, started saying things like, "You're so pretty, I love you," and break up with your boyfriend. Kind of weird, but I just took it as a joke. After this, we sat down for a bit in the alleyway, and he started grabbing my chest area and my neck and face. Every time I push him away, reminding him I have a boyfriend, but Jim kept saying things like, if you didn't have a boyfriend right now, then trailing off. The next morning, he slept over at mine on the couch. I told him a few of the things he had said, and not all the things he had tried to do, because 1, my memory was still hazy, and 2, I didn't want to make him feel bad. He claimed he didn't remember most of the night, which I'm inclined to believe. He then apologized and left. Today, 2 days after it happened, he sent me a really long message apologizing, saying I didn't have to speak to him again if I didn't want, and that his actions were inexcusable. I'm really torn, to be honest. I've had a history of forgiving guys who have done pretty unspeakable things to my body and making excuses for them. So I'm really been trying to not make an excuse for Jim because he was my friend. But it's so difficult considering I thought of him as my closest friend until a few days ago. I've confided my boyfriend and my girl best friends about this, and they both think that was borderline assault, which I think is a bit overkill, and that I should never talk to Jim again, or at least make sure effort to distance myself. I'm honestly at a loss of what to do because I kind of feel like it's rude and a bit of shame to end such a nice friendship over this. Girl.
Damn, girl. I hate to break it to you, but I think your friends are right.
I think your friends are right. To be honest, when I was reading this, I thought it was going to go... I was in a similar situation where, like, I was like, I'm gay! Woo! And then I was like, no.
Why are you gay?
Not gay, but I didn't, like, ever make moves on any of my girlfriends or anything like that. I just kind of found a partner who was female identifying that I really enjoyed. And I lost a lot of friendships because they were like, you told me you were gay and I trusted you around my body and now you're not gay. And I thought that's where it was going. Your sexuality should not be factored into a friendship. It should be like, are you attracted to me? No. Okay, then these are my XYZ boundaries. Obviously, I think you should cut this person off because I hate to break it to you, in my terms and conditions of what assault is, that was assault.
Not your terms and conditions, the terms and conditions. On these terms and conditions, that's borderline assault. Like, I think... the reason that she's having an issue, like, kind of connecting the dots is because she feels like, oh, but, like, that's my friend, like, da-da-da-da. I've know, like, generally speaking, in school, when people talk about this sort of stuff, they talk about, like, strangers taking advantage of you, and, oh, you're at a frat party, and a random person. I think because she's always seen this person as non-threatening, it's hard to visualize them like that, but girl, you gotta wake up and smell the coffee, unfortunately. This is not okay.
Yeah, I think you also have to kind of get in tune with your emotions about it because you obviously have a boyfriend and girl best friends that support you and care about you, but you also have to think beyond them and what your boundaries are and what you're allowing yourself to let go and excuse. Because if you're going to sit there and be like, oh, we're still best friends, like I'm not going to take a step back or anything like that, then you're almost not promoting that behavior, but you're not reprimanding it, which is not what I think you should do in that situation. This is a hard situation. I understand where you're coming from, but I also think you need to set boundaries with this person, if anything. And of course, I would probably go on a no contact for like at least 2 months because I would have to emotionally recover from being assaulted.
Real. And also just remembering, like, would a good friend make you feel that way? Would a good friend who, I mean, you speak about, like, having, like, a history of poor experiences with guys. Mm-hmm. And if this is, like, your best friend, I'm assuming that he knew that, and he still did you like this. Nasty. I think that's an important thing to factor in. Like, maybe he doesn't care about you the way you care about him. And you might be defending someone in your head, internal battle, that wouldn't even go that hard for you.
Well, hopefully you figure it out, B. That was posted 37 minutes ago, so she's going through this in real time.
But yeah, good luck, girl. Am I the asshole for choosing to live a normal life? I, a 45-year-old male, grew up with healthy role models and a good family dynamic. My dad left my mom, as well as my sisters, and I spent my childhood anticipating the day that I would get to have this kind of family myself and was excited for how wonderful it would be. Unfortunately, I found out around 15 years old that I am only attracted to men. This realization destroyed me inside, and I didn't know what to do. I thought I wouldn't be able to live the life I dreamed of. I wouldn't get to have kids or a family like I'd hoped. I tried reading some self-help books about it, and nothing in them would work. I felt too ashamed to even ask for therapy to fix it. However, eventually I decided to learn for myself how to live a normal life, and I chose to push myself into a normal lifestyle. I ended up meeting my wife, Savannah, a 44-year-old female. senior year of high school, and she was in love with me. I chose to date her, and we ended up married 9 years later. We now have 3 kids together, a 17-year-old female, 13-year-old female, and 10-year-old female, and I've been so proud of my life I was able to build for myself. I felt like I truly beat my attraction issue, and even if I could never truly see Savannah the same way she saw me, I at least had a wife. Savannah and I had a party with family for our 17-year-old daughter's birthday, and we had gotten a bit tipsy. Me more so than Savannah. While with her and my parents in the room, we started talking about everything, and I slipped up saying, I'm glad things turned out the way they did, even though I thought I'd never get to this point. My parents and Savannah questioned it, and I ended up drunkenly explaining everything about how I found out I was attracted to men, how I thought I'd never be able to fix it and I'd never get the life I wanted, and how I powered through, chose to live a normal life, and married Savannah and had kids. They were all shocked. Savannah asked if I actually felt anything for her, and I admitted I don't. But I chose her anyways, and that was enough for me. My parents flipped out and asked why I didn't tell them anything and that they would have accepted me. I tried to explain that acceptance wasn't what I wanted, that I wanted to live the traditional family life and I couldn't if I chose that lifestyle. It ended in a big fight, and Savannah told me that she needs time to think about what she wants to do, but she doesn't think she can stay with me. My family is falling apart. My kids can tell something is wrong, but they don't know what happened. My parents are disappointed in me for using Savannah, which I didn't, and Savannah is considering ending things. It feels like my efforts might be for nothing soon, and I don't know what to do anymore. Am I the asshole for choosing a normal life? Unpopular opinion. If he has some sort of, not even some sort of, very blatant internalized homophobia, and he, for whatever reason, was just so hell-bent on this nuclear family of his dreams, and he found a girl and he told her, look, I'm gay. At the end of the day, I want to have this nuclear family. And she was like, okay. And they ended up living happily ever after as BFFs with kids, even though he don't really like her like that. I would say, no, you're not the asshole for choosing a normal life. You're weird and broken inside.
You got a lot of issues.
You got a lot of issues. But the main issue with this for me, because he's not the victim. Sure, he's going through an internal battle, but whatever. The main issue with me for this is him lying to Savannah. Because it's not, I chose a normal life. It's, I chose a normal life at the expense of decades of emotional dedication from another person. Who knows? Maybe she would have been like, you're gay? But, like, you want to play house with me? Who knows? Maybe she would have been like, that's fine. But to sit there and not tell her, to be with her since she was a teenager, have her have 3 of your kids, marry her, everybody believes the facade, just so that you can have a glimpse of happiness, is pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. And to say, I wasn't using her, no, but you were. No, but you were, and you lied the whole time. You're actually an awful person.
Yeah.
And I hope your kids are absolutely disgusted with you, and I hope you are absolutely disgusted with you.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing that you were so insecure that you thought that you couldn't have this exact image of 3 kids and a supportive family with a man.
For real.
When your parents literally straight up said it wouldn't have mattered.
For real.
So you lost out on yourself and you screwed her over. So yes, you are the asshole.
Yeah, you are 110% the asshole. Fuck you. Fuck everything you stand for. Because at the end of the day, you're pushing so many harmful stereotypes as a person in a community. And you have internalized homophobia. Go to Fire Island. I hope you go to Fire Island. I hope you understand that just because you're gay doesn't mean it's a death sentence. You can have a family. You can have all of that in your dreams if you're a good person. But you can't have that now because you're a bad person. You chose to be a bad person when you utilized somebody's love for the sake of your own personal benefit. And everybody in this situation other than you is right. I think that they read you to filth, and they should have done it by tying you up like a hog.
Clock that T. Clock that T.
I think that this is sad. I think that you need help. I hope you get the help. I hope that one day you become a better person and can maybe reconnect with Savannah. And maybe right now is the time to have that honest conversation. Express your love for her in a non-intimate way. Say that you want to have that nuclear family, and maybe you can still be married and go have your own sexual escapades outside of that, like so many already queer homophobic men do. I hope that your kids are better than you.
Real. You see, I'm the opposite. I don't wish well on anybody. I'm like, If you wasted, how long have they been together? What do you say?
They got together when they were 17, I think.
When they were 17, and now she's in her 40s.
They're 45.
45, so it's been 25 years? Over 25.
That's like 30-something
Wrong.
years.
You're almost 30 years? Yeah, you don't deserve a happy ending.
Your kids do.
She can't go back and change this. You're literally all she's known.
And now she's going to be
most of her
left
life.
broken because she never knew what actual love was like.
And you
And
did it
you
for
are-
no reason, because at the end of the day, you're not going to get your happy little family anyways.
And it's not going to be a Shrek happy ever after, is it?
Exactly.
You're not going to have
It was
little
all for
ogres.
nothing.
You're going to have little broken ogres.
Hear the roar.
Little broken ogres.
Am I the asshole for calling out my friend's secret recipe at a barbecue? So my friend, Mark, 35 male, throws these big barbecues every summer, and he always brags about how his secret family recipe for his ribs. Everyone loves them and hypes him up. This weekend, I got him using a store-bought sauce, the same brand I use at home. When I jokingly said, "Oh, so your secret sauce is Sweet Baby's Ray's?" everyone laughed, but Mark looked annoyed. Later, he pulled me aside and said I ruined the vibe by exposing him. I thought it was just teasing, but now I feel bad because maybe I embarrassed him in front of everyone. On the other hand, isn't it a bit much to act like you're some kind of barbecue genius when it's just a sauce from the store? Am I the jerk for calling him out, or is he overreacting? I didn't think it'd be that deep, but now I'm second guessing. Am I the asshole? No! Okay, he's falsifying information. He should be sued. He should be sued by all the people there because they thought they were getting some 5-course meal, but they're actually getting baby rays.
What?
You're not the asshole. You're the prodigy.
This is the kind of thing I feel like people do as a joke. Like, maybe one day he jokingly told someone, "Oh, no, it's like a family recipe," and then they had to, like, keep it up because they spread the word. I think it's
Yeah, but not him pulling him aside and being like, "You're embarrassing me in front of my friends."
I think this is actually so funny. At the end of the day, like, what are they going to do? Stopping his friend because he lied about Sweet Baby Ray's?
Yeah, it's not that
Like,
deep. If anything, they're gonna have a good chuckle over it and then
It
eat the
seems
Sweet
like
Baby
they
Rays.
did. That is so
Except
funny.
him. Except Mark. Mark got mad.
Maybe
Mark
Mark's
needs help.
identity was
I have an idea.
embedded within the Sweet Baby Ray lie.
I have an idea. Maybe the closeted gay and Mark can get together and create something. Like Little Baby Gay barbecue sauce. Little Baby Gay's barbecue sauce, because they're both liars.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Also, if you take the KFC mac and cheese, put it in a different dish, I think maybe add some more cheese on top or don't, and just stick that in the oven, pull it out. You can lie that you made that yourself. It looks really good and it tastes great.
Do you have experience?
Yup.
Oh! Maybe you need to get with Mark.
I didn't actually say
Create
I
something.
feel like if you change it a little bit, then you can say it's yours. Period.
And that's working with capitalism.
Yup.
Period.
Okay, let us know some things, like actual specifics. Like, do you prefer if we do like a pause to read? Do you prefer if we comment, like read through the whole thing and then give our commentary at the end? Do you prefer if we break it up and interject in the middle of the story? Like, what do you think? Because I felt like we were reading for so long. Or do you
Yeah.
think if we do this again, we should just stick to shorter stories?
But also, I would love to hear your guys' Am I the Asshole?
Oh, let's give our own examples.
Was I the asshole for telling my grandma to tuck and roll while I was driving?
What?
For context, she cannot drive. She hasn't been able to drive because we took her car and her license away when she rear-ended somebody in the McDonald's drive-thru. So she hasn't been able to drive for a while. When I'm driving, I like to speed a little bit because I'm in a hurry, and she was screaming, "Slow down." There was no one else near us. I was going 5 over. Calm down. And so we started bickering and all that, and she was like, "Well, you're not even that good of a driver." Help! I just took you to about 8 million things. And I went, "Then you don't have to utilize my services anymore." And she started bickering me, and I was like, "You better get ready to tuck and roll, because you're being dropped off right now." And so I dropped her off, and the next morning I got a phone call. She said, "Tristan, I'm sorry." And I went, "I'm sorry too. I love you. And we're better because of it, but I don't feel bad for telling her to tuck and roll." So let me know if you guys... Let me know if you guys think I'm the asshole.
I thought you ate, but I don't know. I've never had this beef with my grandma.
It's because she's a redhead.
I go to this... this was not recent. This person doesn't even work here anymore, I don't think. Like, y'all don't go searching, you're not going to find anything. But long story short, when the classrooms are empty, they're open spaces, you can use them for anything as a student, part of your tuition. You can just go in there and use the spaces. And also important information, between classes, there's always a 10-minute break. So, there's this one computer lab. I used to go in there to do my editing all the time. One day, Like, sometimes there's, like, one other person in there, sometimes, like, two. It's fine. We all just put in our earbuds in, and we go to work. This one professor comes in with a student. She very evidently, like, didn't know that this was, like, an open space. The student is, like, telling her, like, oh, yeah, we can meet in here. Like, this is, like, a free space. We can talk, or something along those lines. And she proceeds to say to me and the other student across from me at the computer, you need to leave. We're having a meeting in here. We just look at each other, and then we just look at her, and we didn't really say anything. And then the student that was there was like, oh, no, they're allowed to be in here. It's an open space, or something along those lines. They basically explained to her that it was an open space. We're allowed to be in there. They're the ones intruding by having a meeting. And so they went somewhere else, and they found a spot or whatever, right? Fast forward. It's like maybe a week later or something like that. I'm in there again. I'm not sure I can't remember exactly what the situation was. She needed the room for a moment, and I was allowed to be in there. I think it was like her class had like left the room but left their stuff there, and the class was technically over. I thought it was just like random people using the space as well because it's an open space. So I went back in the room because no one else was there. Fast forward, like she comes in the room. She's like, oh, like we're not finished. I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll go out and wait for a second. But as I'm waiting for a second to go back into the room when they grab their things, she says some snark comment about like something along the lines of, yeah, like you know you're not supposed to be in here, like, yeah, like we had a class going on or something like that. Anyways, it left a bad taste in my mouth because she was rude. And so the next time she had her little class, it was the same situation. They had like left to another location but left their belongings, and class was over. So I went in there to sit in the corner where I usually do and do my work. She came back to talk to these two students for about something. I don't really know what. And she said, can you leave? We're having a conversation. I said, your class is over. She was like, yes, it is technically over. She's like, no, but like da-da-da-da. And I was like, no, it's an open space and your class ends at XYZ time on the dot. Your class ended like 5 minutes ago. And she was like, yeah, but your teachers don't ever go over time. I said, no, they don't. And then, they don't.
They get up and leave.
They don't. And then she was, who's your advisor? And I was like, you can figure that out if you want to. And she was like, no, I'm not going to figure that out. And I was like, you're wasting more time trying to argue me out of the classroom. You would have already been done your conversation. And then she stormed out of the room all angry. Then one of the other people that was in the room using the computers was like, thank you. She's literally such a
bitch.
And you know what? I'm not a rude person. For example, last time when she had gone over, I literally was like, oh, yeah, you guys are still using it, no problem. But it was when she gave me an attitude and tried to make it seem like I was doing the wrong thing when I was doing her a favor, that I was like, oh, someone needs to get put in their place. So I don't know. You tell me, am I the asshole for not leaving the room to let her meet with these two students? Keep in mind, there are literally so many open spaces on this campus, and she's a professor, so she has an office.
I don't think you're the asshole. I think you ate her up. In this relationship, I'm usually the one that's blunt in situations and may be cross with people. So Tabi even having the courage to kind of be like, no, I'm proud of her for that. And B, eat her up, chew her out, spit her out. Leave her as gum on the streets of New York.
Yeah, comment what you think, or if that made sense at all. I'm this type of person, like, generally speaking, I do not take things to heart. Like, if someone bumps my shoulder in the street, I'm this type of person to be like, oh, they're disrespectful.
Weird.
Well, weird, whatever. And just move on. Like, it's just not that deep to me. But I just have this one policy. Like, I can admit when I'm wrong. I can't pretend that I'm wrong. And I didn't like that she tried to make it seem like I was in the wrong when I literally was doing her a favor by leaving the room because she went overtime.
For real.
So, I don't know. Comment down below. What do you think?
Let us know.
AITA.
Well,
yeah.
And also give us your own situations because we'd love to hear them.
And we'd love to react.
We're being personal with you.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be fun to react to your scenarios too. If you'd want any advice, column type things, that'd be awesome. So yeah, sorry if we look a little dead. We actually are.
They ask you how you are, you just want to say that you're fine. And you're not really.
2 hours of sleep. I don't even know. I'm not even kidding. Yesterday I was sitting there.
Insomniac.
Literally, the other day I was standing there. I almost went, ooh.
I think that's going to do it for us this week.
My name's Tabi.
And my name is Tristan.
And we are
Loud and Wrong.
Bye.
Ah.
Help.